We can wait 2 more minutes, then we can get started. This is Chandra.
Yep, sounds good.
Good evening, all. This is Nizar, co-founder of Sitecore User Group Chennai. Hope you all are doing well. It's a privilege to have Jitendra Soni, who is one of the Sitecore MVP and a well-known person in the Sitecore community. Today, he will take us through a webinar on Sitecore XSA best practices and secrets. On behalf of SUG Chennai, I welcome you, Jitendra, and extending my warm welcome to all the participants. Over to you, Jitendra. We are very curious to hear from you.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Mia. And thank you all for joining today's session. So let me share my screen. So Mia, are you recording that session or?
Yeah, already we started recording. Yeah.
Yeah, let me share the screen if I can. Yeah, can you provide me the approval? Like I need to share my screen. Can you give me the access to share the screen?
Already you have an approval, na? You shared last time. Hope you already have. Can you start sharing it again?
Yeah, it's showing waiting for host to approve. I think you need to approve it again because I disconnected. So, yeah.
1 minute.
Yep, now I got access. I hope you guys can see my screen.
Yeah, yes, we can.
Okay. So, okay, so welcome all. Thanks for joining today's session. So today we'll discuss about the Sitecore SXA, a few best practices and secrets in terms of a few tips which we got while working on the SXA projects. So we'll share those details. A little bit intro from my side. So I've been working in IT in 13 years, 7 years in the Sitecore, work on the Sitecore XP and the XC projects. I work on a few search engines, Solar, Azure, Covio, and the Fusion. Also Sitecore certified, Microsoft certified, and Sitecore MVP. And I'm living here in Sydney, Australia, and a few awarded in India because I was working there before. So this is the agenda for today's session. So there are 5 topics. So first we will discuss that what all are the Sitecore best practices. We'll create a small Sitecore custom SXA module, and I will let you know that how we can use the composite component like snippet and the tape component, and page content like we can reuse to speed up the development, and we'll discuss about the search relevancy. So I think search is almost the key part of almost all project. So we'll discuss all the typical scenarios and then how we can get the benefit of the SXA. So hope that's clear. So when we start the Sitecore SXA project, I think we all are familiar with the basic things that we need to design our IA, like the content structure that let's say one site would be the common site, or we can say the global site, and then a few would be the site called the microsites, right? So let me share the site code. I think that would be much easy for us to understand it better. So, so first thing I wanted to understand that we can get the benefit of using the partial design inheritance. So we know that for all the page we have mainly three components. Like one is the page design, and then we put all the partial design on the page design, and then partial design we can put the renderings and the component, and each component we can have the rendering variant. So that's the complete hierarchy. So so there is a concept for the partial design inheritance. So let me show you here. I hope you guys can see my sidecar screen. Yes.
Yes, Jitendra.
Yeah. So, so this is a very simple sidecar, which is sidecar 1001. So I will just provide you basic walkthrough, and then we'll discuss about the best practices. So, so this is my tenant sidecar, and then let's say if we have two sites, one is the global and one is the master site. So when we configure this site from here on the tenant, right, it's very basic, and you need to define the location that what would be the theme, media library, and the shared media library, and these are the installed modules. So here you will define that for all this site. So this particular site will be shared across all the microsites or multiple sites. So once you choose this one, then the content structure, like the data structure, presentation layer, would be shared in the microsites. So this is the one setting. So the way we do here is I just stop the presentation. So we'll discuss first the partial design, and then we'll go with the slide. So let's say uh, we have this one site, and we wanted to create a few pages. So let's say I'm creating, let's say this is my site for today's session. So let's say for this home node, I wanted to create a page design and the rendering variants for the header, footer, and then few more components. So because I'm using the global, so it is recommended that you try to use the global site to set up your presentation layer. So if I go to my page design, so if I create, let's say for today's session, it's my demo. So this is create the folder. So this is a folder. Demo folder, and let's say if I'm creating a page design for let's say for article. So this article page design, basically if I open in the Expense Editor, it's like a blank page design which has a few placeholder. So you can see header and main and the footer. So now with the partial design, if I create in the same folder structure, let's say this is my demo folder, and of course I will create header and footer. But let's say if I want to create the article content, then inside the article content, if I use my main placeholder, and if I want to drag and drop, let's say page content, and page content, maybe just use rich text content. So this rich text content, this is my base partial design. So it's very simple that the way we are doing in the architecture design in our solution. So you can keep all your base things in the partial base design, and then you can get the benefit of the reusability. So if this is my base partial design, if I go to the article and if I choose this for my page, so I have created this page template and assigned this partial design to the page template. And if I go to the home, let me keep this name as a article. And now I have two options that I can assign this page template from at the content level, or I can assign from the settings levels. From here, I will just assign here page design. So let's say the page design is I think I created this one article, but there are two articles. I will just rename to yellow article, and I need to refresh this page. So so I assigned this to as a demo article. Now if I open this in the Expense Editor, now I can see I got this page design as well as the partial design. Now in future, if I get a requirement that I want to have the article content, but I want to place a few more a placeholder or maybe the video content, then I can simply create or extend the partial design. So I can create partial design content extended. And when I go here from the Expense Editor, I can choose that, hey, what is my base design? So I can choose from here, and I can say this is this for this partial design, the base would be the article content. And when I select this one, so now I got the base. Now I can place one more, let's say an image content. So if I go to the media and if I place the media icon here, okay, the media is not loading. Okay, so maybe I will just use one more content, rich text content. So if I just click here, then I can add one more rich text content, which is here, and I can write partial design extended. So that way, if I want to browse this page, so I have created one sample page here. So if I just refresh this page, so under the home, I think, let me refresh this one. So for the demo under the home, now I can say this is my base partial design, and then when I assign, let me set this on here. Okay, so save it here. Let me refresh if it is there. Okay, so my changes are not there. I need to make sure that my changes are there. So I will add the rich text again and extend it. Save it. So I will just simply go to the page here, to my page design, and from the page design, I will just assign the new extended one. And now if I go to my page, which is here, then I should be able to see my partial design as well as the page design. Share this one. So this is demo. Yeah, so I think maybe there's some issue, but the concept is that you will because I think when I didn't save this one. Let me reconfirm. If I go to here, okay, so that's not properly saved. So if I save this one and if I do this one, then I should be able to see both the content. So this is partial design, and yeah, so this is the concept. We'll have a look like this. Why it's not working on my local machine, but we can get the benefit of the using the base partial design. Now the second thing, where is my demo? So this is one thing, we can reuse these things. And so when we configure the shared site, let's say, because we have just configured now, we need to make sure that when we go into the page, let's say on my this article, if I open this page, this is my base partial design, this is my base, this is extended. It's showing here. Why it's not showing? But if when we configure site as a shared site, we need to make sure that we remove all the additional data in the styles. Otherwise, it will show a lot of duplicate content. So let's say if I go and use let's say promo content, and in the promo content, if I create, let's say, test promo, and if I just go to edit component property, now here you would see the multiple multiple styles. So when we configure the shared site, it's recommended that we remove in the duplicate styles. So that's the one more suggestion. And same thing, like if there is additional content, we need to remove from there. So that's one thing. And now if I go to the next one, so these are the few more tips. Then like we need to make sure that we shouldn't put any content inside the media folder, because it's just a virtual folder pointing to the actual media library. We shouldn't touch any out of the box SXA control branches, because it would be overwritten when we do the upgrade. When we create any SXA component, it's recommended that we should create as a module so we can install to other sites. Helix is everywhere. We need to follow the Helix architecture. Considering existing renting, so before going to create any new component, we need to make sure that if you have the similar component which we can reuse, and we can clone rather than creating the complete new component. So yeah, this page design, partial design. So as I said that when we configure as a shared site, if there are multiple variants on the global and the same site, then you would see duplicate variants. So we need to avoid the duplicate variants, duplicate content. Shared content is a delegated area. So now this point is I just wanted to show here. I'll go to this page. That's strange, but I will just go here. So now on this page, because we are following the SXA, so we know that we can share the data with the SXA token, like shared site and the site. But what about the content? So let's say if the content editor wanted to manage the content page on one side, and then they wanted to see that page on the multiple sides. So we can delegate that area. So basically, let's say this is my shared page, and I delegated that shared page here in the shared page. Now I can't edit this page because this is basically driven from the global side. So the way you do is like you click on the any of the page, and then you configure, and then you can clone the page to a different location. So now the benefit of this one is that still you can browse this page in the site. So if I go to this page here, I have this shared page, which is coming from the shared site, which is sitting here, right? So you can define your structure like keeping the content in one site, and if you want to just create a virtual page, you can get the benefit of the delegated area. So now coming to my site again. So working with data source and the medium. So again, we need to follow that. If it is we need to assign the proper value. We need to assign the proper placeholder settings, snippets. So I will discuss more about details. When we create a simple component. We also need to use the set placeholder restriction. So when we drop any placeholder, like when we try to drop any component, we can limit the options like what content, what rendering suits to the page. So that's we can take the benefit. Remove unnecessary rendering and the styles. So when we set up the SXS site, there are a lot of unnecessary styles and the component. If we don't require it, like we can simply remove it. Do not use standard values to set the presentation details. I think this one is very basic, that with the SXA you wanted to provide more flexibility to the content um, author. So it's better you can create a snippet of the page or maybe multiple page design, so the content author can choose different flavors rather than defining those design at the template level at the standard value. That's one more tip. Now, writing the changing grid settings. I think this one is very important, and I just wanted to show you here. Um, so if I go to here, I just created a page. So let's say for the article page, let me show you which page I got here. Let me start with the. If I have this, not the article. Okay, so let's start with the article. So let's create a new page here. So for this article page, basically, so with the SXA, when we drag and drop the component, let's say this is my like a blank page, and it would have like header and footer. When I drag and drop any content, so I will design that this will come under the container, and one container will have the image. So if I drag and drop the image here, and if I say this will have this one image. Now let me share. So now we can define that what would be the viewpoints. So from here I can define that on the desktop mode. When it is a desktop mode, I just wanted to give a 4 column size for this one, and then I can place multiple components here. So that way we can easily define the structure. So if I go here and if I place one more component, one more image, and from here if I choose one more image, now this time for this image, let me share this one. Now for this image, I can define that, let me go to the image component, that this image component on the desktop mode will also get the 4 column. So that way, if I save this one, so this will take, so we can define the complete grid system at the component level. So let me here. So the phone, it will take the full width, and the laptop and the desktop, I will take 4, and for the mobile, take the 4. Right. So if I go to my page, which is this one, I can see I got this in the 4 row, and when I change the viewpoint, it will change based on the screen size, right? So that's very thing. So it's recommended that we shouldn't fixed or hard coded in this styling or something. We can easily get the benefit of these configuration. Now, one more thing, which is again very interesting. So from here, if I add one more media content, let's say one more image, and I choose a site for logo, let's say this one, and if I give it same 4 and 4, now here you can see there is one more options which is advanced. So with these options, based on the change in the size, I can even manage the order, that how my component will move on the viewpoint. So let's say so I have these 3 components. Let me first save this one, and let me refresh this page here. So now I got 3.1. When I resize, then you can see the sidecar comes down, and this is the predefined sequence. But sometimes, let's say my one of the component which is sitting on top, I want to move this in the middle or something. So that is something we can also control. So if I go to my image, and I just say that for this one, the laptop, the order would be 1, desktop it would be 1. So you can see the moment I change, it got the different sequence. So, and this one, I can say this would be, let's say 2. So here it would be 2, it would be 2, and maybe on the phone it would be 1, or third, or like, because 1 we already provided, we need to make sure that we give the proper. So when I go here, now if I refresh, you can see it's changing the order. So this one, which is on first, when I squeeze the page, it will go to the second position. So it's very good. So we can control the whole viewport design with the SXA. So that's one point. Now the next is performance. So I think I need to cover a few more things for the set. So you can complete case the whole component. You can provide the casing at the site level or the settings level. So this is just the SXA performance related a few recommendations, and these are the definitions that what all are the casings available. So and this is again very important. It's recommended even by Sitecore team that we shouldn't put so many component on the single page. Otherwise, like from the experience editor, it would be very hard to edit the page, because each component, when we open in the Expense Editor, it opens with the edit tooltips. Like there's a lot of more components.
In order to get there.
Hello? Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, Jitendra, I got some glitch. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so it's recommended that you shouldn't use more than 30 items. Enhancing the performance, it's a very small setting that the asset optimizer, we need to turn it on, like on when we go to the production, so we can squeeze all the CSS and the JavaScript. Like we can do the minification, so it will improve the performance. So do not modify out of the box assets items and use the custom style of for the rendering, right? So when we just, so let's say when we have the, whenever we get a requirement, we try to see that what out of the box feature we can leverage, right? So we can create our custom styles rather than creating a new component. Based on like my few projects, I realized that we just trying to use out of the box component and then like cloning only a few components. So styling is one option. We can create the styles and then you can assign to the component. If I can show you here. So basically for each component, let's say this is my one component, and so I have options for applying the styling. Like let's say I want to move this component and any of the styling, so I can go into my global sign representation and then I can create styles, right? I can group those styles, and then even for each styles I can allow that, hey, this style is only for this component, right? So that way we can provide limited options and very like limited and very clean options to the content editor, so they can choose from the styles. So again, this is a recommended way of doing it. Now moving to the next slide, clean up your styles folder. That's what I was talking about, that there are few PowerShell scripts available where you can run and clean up the unused styles, right? Keeping unused styles, unused component and content, it's overhead, so we can remove it. So rendering best practices, I just wanted to show one more thing here. So when we are using the SXA, so we need to make sure that if I go to any of the page content, let's say on the article, okay, so this is very important, like the content editor. So we can, when we add any of the content here, let's say this is my text content. So from here you can see you can apply a few CSS from here, and then you can provide some heading and those sort of things. So for the CSS, there is options in Sitecore. You just need to place the CSS files on the system. There's a folder in the settings. So it's recommended that you use this one, and if it is required, create the CSS file here, and don't use the HTML part and start writing the HTML here. Otherwise, your page will looks very weird. So so the best way to using the rich text editor, creating custom CSS classes. So that's one more point. Now a few options. So I think it's a very common scenarios that how we are going to manage the content. Like we as a developer, like when we start creating the component pages, rendering data, search pages, then how we would manage those content from the Sitecore content serialization or the unicorn. So there were three options. Like with the unicorn and the TDS, usually like you can exclude a few content based on the wildcard that let me show you here. So so basically you can see when we do the serialization, you can see that from the whole content tree, don't serialize any folder which has the name, let's say Dave or something. So that's one way. I didn't see that option with the Sitecore content serialization, but that's one way. The second way is you can create. Where is my site? You can set up a complete home node, and the third one is you can create altogether a new site. You do all your work there, all the development work, and then when you promote to the production, you just don't push your changes. So still you control all your content. So the third one is it's like, based on my experience, it's more preferred approach. You try to create a master site with all your dev work, and then when you move to the upper environment or staging and production, you just create pages by your own with a reference to that master site. That's what the Sitecore is also recommending, that to speed up your rolling your site, you need to create the master sites so you can leverage the component. Now, so this was the first part. The second is creating the SXA module. So SXA modules, so these are the best practices. I will just let you know that what is the best way, and then few things which is like I didn't find anywhere, but it's very useful. So whenever we get a requirement that we need to create a new component, so first thing we need to see that if we can clone that component, so we don't need to create the repository model and controller. If we can just clone the component, and we can just create the serialization configuration to serialize the content, right? So that's the best way. But if you want to create a new component, of course we will go and create it. So for a new modules, basically, if you see the whole content structure, so all the modules are coming from here, from the systems settings. Under the settings, you can see the features. So for this site, let's say for the demo accelerator, I just created one folder, and this is my one feature for the page content site setup, right? So this module setup, we can define a few steps, like when we install this particular module, what we want to what steps we want to execute, right? So the first step we want to execute, that when I install this particular module, I want to create the available renderings. So available rendering means I want to create here under the available rendering section, I want to create available page content rendering. So under this one, I want to create available page content rendering, right? So I have installed this module here under the presentation. So I want to create this available page content rendering. So this is content page content rendering. So this is for one first step, and then the second is, of course, I want to create the data folder. So when I choose the component, I would like to see the scaffolding, the data folder. So the second setting is what location you want to create, and by using which template. So these are the templates which we'll just have a look. And for this component, what would be the rendering variant? So we define the rendering variant here. Now, this is for the simple component. For the composite, of course, you would need more steps and the more configuration. So I would suggest that keep always the out of the box SXA accelerator as a reference point of view. So let's say if you want to create any composite component, let's say navigation component. So the navigation component, you need to define the enum, fake content, and the filters. And on the site setup, you will see there are a few more steps, because when we drag and drop the composite component, it will create two default items. So you need to link those items as well. So always keep and follow the out of the box pattern. Then you can use the same one. Now from the settings, this is one point, and then second thing is you need to define all your templates here. So if I go onto the feature, so this is my actual banner component, and this is my banner folder, and this is my printing parameters. So when I define this one, I need to configure this in the branch template. So in the branch template, I I need to mention that when I execute the site setup, then site setup will point to the branch template, and then branch template will have, let's say, predefined rendering variant. So let's say it has one rendering variant. So it is also recommended that when you create a new rendering variant, you move that rendering variant into the branch template. So when you try to reuse your module, you would see that new rendering variant. So that's one. So now if you want to create a new, so these are the three settings: system settings, branch template, and the template. Now if you want to clone a new component, let's say from the layout, from the rendering feature, the experience accelerator, let's say any of the component from the page content, I want to clone this one. So I can script, so clone the rendering. So when I do the clone rendering, it will ask me the option that what would be the name of your clone rendering. Then I can just see test where we want to keep this one. I will just choose the demo custom composition, and this is very important because when the front-end team will design the new CSS class, they will use this one. So I'm just using same, so I can use the same classes, but we should keep it separate. So this component, and make a rendering parameter copy, data source, make a copy view. You can create your own view. So if I just do yes.
Jitendra, sorry to interrupt. Okay, just a time check. So still we have 15 minutes left. Hope you are able to cover everything.
Oh yeah, thanks. I think this is pretty simple, so I won't take much time. So
yeah.
Okay, so I think this is when we thanks Nizar, for reminding. So this is a custom component, you can see, and this custom component, it's very few things, like it's using out of the box controller. The main thing here is the query. So this is very important, that when we drag and drop this component, it will choose from the data folder, and the template name would be test component folder, which is here, which is your test component. If you go here, so here you can see your test component folder. So and this is the data source template, right? So now, so this is how you create the component. Now when we have the component, the most common requirement is like adding a few more fields and creating a more design. So when you clone the component, you can go and you can create, like, add more fields on the component, and in the rendering variant, you can just simply go and create a new field, or maybe you can write the script, and that way you don't need to create the components. So we'll just try to cover a few more things. So now this is actually rendering. It's a very simple rendering type. I just want to cover a few things for the Scriven. So Scriven is very important. It can save a lot of time. So let's say a simple scenario that I can show you from here. So if I created a page here, this one. Okay, so this is a banner one page. So how you can get the benefit of the Scriven? That's very simple. I just wanted to. So for the banner one, if I go to the page content, and this is very common scenario, I just wanted to emphasize. So this banner one, so you can see this is a title, content, description, and then here I got a few more fields. Let me close this render value. I think I've created list view. Okay, so here I just created two more fields on this template, which is page. Yeah, so this is just page template. I created two more fields here. Let's say for image and for the video, and I also created for the tag list. So so with the Scriven, basically, so this is a simple page, but this content on the whole, this page basically there is a multi-list on that particular page, and this whole content from the selected item I'm getting from the Scriven template. So if I go to the global presentation and rendering variant, and inside the rendering variant, I think I was using the promo. Okay, so this is a promo, and from this side, I go to rendering variant. Okay, so this is just a hero banner. So I just created the Scriven. So for this hero banner, basically, it will just do a for loop to the related tag field, and whatever tag is selected in the multi-list, it will just render. So usually, like for these type of things, we just create a new component to fetch the related items and create it, which can be done easily with the Scriven. This is also important, like you can use this pass-through fields to render the related field item, which is, you can see, this is again a pass-through field. So Scriven, very handy. You can get the benefit of using the Scriven. Now, there is editor available. I would highly encourage that you can install that editor, the Scriven editor, and that's you can get the benefit out of it. So SXA rendering type, I think simple and composite. So with the composite, you need to make sure that when you create a composite rendering, all the editable options you need to create in the core database, and then naming should be the same. So that's one more example. Now, with the composite template, these are the name like tabs and tab empty. So it should map. If I can show you here. So in the core, so all the options are coming from here. Web edit and edit frame buttons. So if you see, like for the tab component, if I go to the tab component, so tab component and the tab empty, when you choose any tab component in the expense editor, so these are the control, like adding the one more tabs, it's getting rendered from here. And yeah, page snippet, it's very important that you can create the complete page using the page snippet. Like page snippet is a composite component. You drag and drop here on the page, and then you will have options to like create the images, multiple images. You combine that as a snippet, and then you can keep maybe in the global or the shared side, and then you can provide an option to the content editor that you drag your snippet and then you choose the data source from the global and shared, and it will render the copy, and then you can just put the dummy data there. Power of the page content, it's very important. The page content, basically you create any content or any page template, you place the page content, and page content trending variant will read data from the page itself, and then you can write the script and you can put multiple placeholder. It's again very handy. Now, search relevancy. I just wanted to touch this one. I think we have only 5 to 10 minutes. So search relevancy. I think I just created a demo here, so let me show you. So with the search relevancy, you can see, so there are 3 options available. So search, creating a page is very easy. You drag and drop basically a component. If I can show you from here, let's go to the master. So home, media, sample, and the search. So basically you just drag and drop the search result component, and then you just create the scope query. So I think I did a one presentation in the Sub Bangalore, created a few pages, so you can look. So for the result, so this is search result component. You just drag and drop the result component, and then you define the scope, which is just I created the article listing scope, which is here, and in the scope basically you just define that what is the location and then what template you wanted to render. So if you do the query, you need to just generate the query here, and then make sure that if you want to have the end query, you put the plus here, which is you need to make sure that it should be here. And so when you place these things, the main thing I just wanted to let you know, this is a search text box, very important. Almost on all project, customer asks that, when I type this one, when should I get the result? What should I get the result? Will I get the suggestion, relevancy, spelling correction, highlights, all those things, right? So when we drag and drop the search text box here, it comes with the 3 options. So you can see here. So signature, when you have multiple component, you want to combine those items. So I wanted to emphasize here. So there are 3 options, right? So search result, so predictions, and so search result is prediction, right? So all 3 options, I created a 3 text here, and just wanted to let you know from here. So the first option is when we type, let's say, article, then it will just search in the article and the content, and it will give you the link. When we click on the link, it will just redirect to that particular page. So that is the one option, right? It's very rarely used. So most time the content editor want that when you search from here, it should filter out the results, right? So this is second options. You can filter out the results, right? Now the third one is the prediction, right? So which is not out of the box configured. So when you use this one and when you do any search, it will give you 404 error, because you need to configure the Solr, and that's what I just wanted to mention here. So you need to configure the suggester here. The name should be the same, SXA suggester. That's what Sitecore is expecting. You define the handler, and then you define the search component, and then in the search component you can define that what type of dictionary you wanted to use, what type of analyzer you wanted to use, and which field you wanted to do the suggestion, right? So there is a SXA token field which has hedge most of the content, but if you wanted to do, you can use the title field. And this is the place where you go and change the config file. And this is one more thing. So now, because I have just changed here, so now if I do the search with this one, you can see I'm getting more prediction. Like the total items you can see here, total 4. I do the load more 4, but it's giving me more prediction, right? Because now it's coming from the Solr. Now I have the more control that I can configure more analyzer, tokenizer, and then the good part here is, if I can show you the Solr. So the file. So you need to master file. So you need to define this handler, and then you need to define the component. Now you will serve these, request from Solr. Now you can see I have defined the text type, which is text general, and then I have defined a field that it will do the suggestion based on the title field. Now here we'll get more, more options that if you want to do the search in multiple field, you can define your own computed field. You can define the field definition here. And once you do the computed field, then you can change the field here, and then you will get more accurate results. So that's again a good options. Now let me show you what I covered. Okay, so this is what now. So the one thing is very important, that if you want to search any content from the data folder, so out of the box, SXS search all the content from the tree, like all the pages, but you wanted to reuse the data folder, right? Like inside the data, you have a lot of articles or like so many things, right? So you need to make sure that you need to inherit from the searchable template. And then when you do the inheritance, then you would see the searchable field on that particular item will be true. So that's very important, because it's very common you wanted to reuse the data folder. So you can see the data in the search result. Yeah, I think we are on time. So let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm happy to discuss on that.
Yeah, great, Jitendra. You finished on time. Guys, any question? Yeah, I think you have covered everything pretty much very clearly. So hope no questions from our guys. Thank you,
Yep.
Jitendra, for such a great presentation. It's very useful. Tips and
Yep,
practices we have to follow. Yeah. Thank you for your valuable time.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks all for joining today's session. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining. Thank you. Bye.